Ba-da-da-da-da. Mississippi River. Ba-da-da-da-da. What a bad deck name. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. And Jacob P had been waiting for literal years to see attractions on this channel. And then all the attractions got banned in Legacy a couple days ago. So to make it up to Jacob, we're going to go ahead and play Creative Technique today. And I gave Jacob a bonus dealer's choice donation deck list sort of thing as well to help make up for that, because it's kind of sad. The Creative Technique deck is essentially a Cascade deck. This spell has Demonstrate, meaning that when you cast it, you can copy it, but if you do, your opponent gets a copy and theirs resolve first. So basically, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card. You exile that card, put the rest on the bottom in a random order, and you can cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. And this is a way for you to kind of do disgusting broken things and cheat all possible mana costs. Let's take a look at how this deck works. So you are looking to cast a Creative Technique, and you are going to be playing a bunch of Cascade spells that allow you to go and get into that Creative Technique even when things go wrong. So you are looking to either have a Creative Technique or a boarding party, Sakashima's protege, and then the Discover on Trumpeting Carnosaur basically works the same way. It is always going to get you into a Creative Technique, assuming that there is one in your deck. This version is a little different than the version that I played on the channel last time I played this, because I don't believe that Call Forth the Tempest was on Magic Online last time around. So this has Cascade twice, which is so much value. Call Forth the Tempest deals damage to each creature your opponents control equal to the total mana value of other spells you've cast this turn. Probably a minimum of 5. Maybe a crazy large number that is much larger than 5. The mana base of this deck list is all sorts of weird, because it's essentially just a whole bunch of sketchy looking dual lands of various natures. And the trickiest part here is that sometimes we are going to need like red or blue. And while most of our dual lands are going to do those at the same time, not every single one is going to accomplish the lands in this deck are here because they produce 2 mana, but they might not always produce the correct color of mana, is what I am getting at here. So ultimately, what I'm unsure about looking at this deck list is like how good it is to play this deck without just like the maximum number of enablers. This deck is trying to squeeze in a couple copies of Call Forth the Tempest, and I think 39 lands is a little high for this deck. Like, you need a shit ton of mana because you are trying to cast 6-drops in your deck. But I want to say that this deck normally runs closer to 37. This is a deck that's not going to sideboard much. We can go up to some additional early cost enablers when we don't feel like we need something like Call Forth the Tempest, or we also like the removal side of Trumpeting Carnosaur. Otherwise, we have an alternative way of comboing off, but it's risky, and that's Tybalt's Trickery. So we counter target spell. We choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So the idea here is that we cast a Throes of Chaos, and that cascades into something smaller, which means Tybalt's Trickery in this deck. And then we use the Tybalt's Trickery to counter the Throes of Chaos, which is still on the stack. And then we are hoping that we don't hit another Tybalt's Trickery with this. Assuming that we don't hit another Tybalt's Trickery, we are off to the races and we will do our whole combo thing. And as soon as we hit one of these multi-cascade spells, we probably end up with enough gas that we just win the game. I'm not exactly sure what the Dream Halls is in here for. It is a very cute alternative win condition. I haven't seen this in other versions of the deck, so I'm not exactly sure why it is necessary, but I'm sure this is answering some problem, and I might be able to figure that out across the course of this league. If you specifically know like what hate card or whatever that's addressing, throw that in the comments. I would love to know. Otherwise, Pyrokinesis is kind of the last thing that we are doing here. With Namesticker Goblin gone, I'm not sure that this has to be Pyrokinesis. Like maybe you can mess around with Fury or something like that instead. I haven't given it a whole lot of thought. So let's go ahead and just jump into the matches here. I'm going to apologize in advance in case you hear a little bit of mowing. I've turned down the gain on my mic a bit, so hopefully that doesn't happen. And should you find that you need some cards, maybe you need some cards before the next MagicCon, like MagicCon Vegas, check out toamagic.com. Use promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit on your order. One of the things I love about TOA is you can place an order on your website and pick it up at just about any major event, and that always saves you the hassle of running around the dealer's hall looking for some uncommon from 15 years ago. Let's battle. Alrighty, so we have 3 different lands that produce 2 mana, so we can cascade into Creative Technique with Sakashima's protege on turn 3. So we are on track to do broken things. Okay, I'm going to try to drop the gain a little bit more here. We'll see if this ends up being okay. That's an unfair looking land over there. Could just be an Orcish Bowmaster's deck. Yeah, fuck. Archon of Cruelty feels like it might be beatable. Oh, Wasteland's really effing good, though. Okay. Archon. Brutal. Am I just dead? So I play my second land, I get attacked for 9. I'm going to need to draw an untapped land. I guess there's also Otawara. That feels brutal. I'm going to put a Maelstrom Wanderer into my graveyard, recognizing that that might be bad. I might need all of these various lands that are here. Yeah, so this is a 2-turn clock. This is 9-18. This gives me blue. I will play a tapped land. Take 9 and discard again. Again, it feels like mana is the bottleneck here that I'm likely to get, especially if I end up just sacrificing this land. I'm at 8. Fuck! So now I need to draw an untapped land immediately to Otawara, which I did not do, and this is a lethal attack. Yeah, I had a turn 3. My opponent had a turn 2. That's how math works. So do I want to do this stuff? Like, do I need to go faster? I might need to go faster versus a Wasteland deck. This is just, like, more volatile. All right, so let's do this. I'm not 100% sure how the board outs work here. If I'm trying to go faster, I can maybe do something like that as a starting point. I don't know, maybe I'm not even supposed to try to go faster here for the game that I'm on the play. Like, this just has a high chance of fizzling. Maybe I just resubmit the game 1 deck when I'm on the play, and then do this when I'm on the draw and I need to go faster. Sure. This is perfectly fine. This is a turn 3, assuming that this land does not get wastelanded. I'm going to give my opponent a chance to wasteland a different land here other than the Sandstone Needle. I maybe should give them a chance to wasteland the Ancient Tomb, since I do just have multiple of those. Getting griefed and just like putting a Maelstrom Wanderer into my graveyard that my opponent can reanimate is not great, but losing the Creative Technique like definitely sucks too. My opponent also has more informed decisions about how their wastelands would work if they have wastelands. Am I just eating Entomb again? I'm not. Okay, good. Troll I at least get untap steps against. All right. So 6, 12, 18, 24. Is that it? Is that the thing that the Dream Halls is there for? Now I don't cascade into anything. I just have large creatures. And there's more. And I lose the Maelstrom Wanderer too. Fuck. Okay. Well, I get green mana? I can get green mana, right? Maybe we're not dead. Maybe we're not dead. This is 9 damage, 18 damage. I could draw Greenland? And then there's a ponder to shuffle that. That's a big ouchie. That is just a 7/6. I can use that to kill a grief. Take 6, the clock doesn't change. Casting this doesn't do anything against the troll. Casting this maybe baits a force of will, though. We do this. Cast. Use a depletion counter here. Regular mana here. Regular mana here. This is dazable, but I don't think I can give up a land. My opponent just actively beats a 7/6 Trampler by attacking with Troll and leaving back Grief. Anime Dead on Maelstrom Wander. That has haste, that attacks in and kills me. Just for the lols, would I have drawn the green land? I would not have. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists, and they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out. Okay, we have all mana here. I don't think I am going to keep this one. This looks a lot better. I'll absolutely keep this one. We'll just put the Emrakul back in the deck so we can maybe cascade into it later. And from here, I would love to just draw an untapped dual land so that I can attempt to go off on turn 3. We've got a clock. Hey, untapped dual land so we can attempt to go off on turn 3. Fantastic. See if Delver flips. Seems like Delver's going to flip. So the appeal of a deck like Creative Technique is the fact that you kind of dodge a single counterspell relatively easily because you just get 2 copies of your card. The downside of a deck like this one is that you can often end up giving your opponent a copy of Creative Technique that puts something weird into play. I wonder if you're supposed to go for the red one there. Isn't there some red card in this deck? Like, isn't that a thing? Yeah, Trumpeting Carnosaur requires red. So it looks like I am going to get to attempt to do my thing next turn. The boarding party will just die to a lightning bolt, but that's not a big deal. Cool. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to wait a turn to make daze not an option. It gives my opponent an extra turn cycle to cantrip. I'm just sacrificing both of these lands and going down to just a City of Traders, which is rough. I don't think I can give my opponent a turn to cantrip into Wasteland specifically. Like, that's a huge problem here. Hello, Magic Online. There we go. Let's cascade. Cast. I will demonstrate. And it seems like we've got a response. It is just a surveil, which I don't think makes any sense, right? Because, like, this causes you to shuffle. So my opponent gets this first copy. They hit a Brazen Borrower. They can cast that. All right, there is a Daze. I cannot pay for that. Is there a secondary counterspell? There is not. This probably means that I just win the game now. Narcan does not even make me play it out. As soon as you hit one of these multi-cascade spells, it's just relatively unlikely that you fail. And you have more options for the multi-cascade spells with Call Forth the Tempest. I don't really know what I'm doing for sideboarding here. The Trumpeting Carnosaurs are nice for flexibility. A primary difference here being that their thing doesn't happen on cast, it happens when this enters the battlefield. I think I'm going to board in a couple of these to help with Delvers. I think I'm going to cut one random land here. Maybe I mess around with this Dream Halls over some random card. Okay, I've got lands. I think that's the singular most important thing in this matchup, is just having the ability to go and cast my spells. My depletion counter lands are better than my sacrifice lands because my depletion counter lands are better at trying twice. My land situation is a little awkward here because I have one land that produces red as of right now. In thinking about the land that I sideboarded out, I probably should have sideboarded out a Boseiju over one of the lands that makes 2 mana. Yeah, that's fine. This is why I kept a mana-heavy hand. Maelstrom Wanderer, not exactly a great draw. Let's do a depletion counter land, and we're on track to go Dwarven Ruins into Ancient Tomb, boarding party, go. Fuck. Wasteland's dumb. Ban Wasteland. That's the person playing 75 lands in their deck. Alright. If Delver flips to Spell Pierce. That's not great. This is so much pressure. I think I am dead. Like, I know my opponent has Daze and Spell Pierce. The combination of those two is just going to cover my spells, so I like have to play multiple things. There's 3 card types in Graveyard. I'm just so likely dead if I don't shove right now. I don't think this works. So we Cascade. Cast this. I will demonstrate, because I think I need to. My opponent hits a Bobble, which gives them a bunch of Surveils. Alright, so Spell Pierce happens. Ooh. Yeah, and there's the Daze. So at this point, these are 3/3s. I take 9 damage, and we are dead. We get another game, though. This still feels more volatile than just doing this normal thing. I'm going to make that land swap that I said I was going to do. Maybe I even just can go further down on these. These just aren't dual lands. Maybe play one more dino? No, all the dinos are in there. Put one of those back in the deck. So this one has the Dream Halls. It has mana to get to the Dream Halls. I really want more colored mana. Plays around Daze, doesn't beat Spell Pierce. I think I'll keep it and just kind of hope that I draw more lands. Like, if this gets wastelanded, I have no colors, which is brutal. We'll make the land drop and pass and hope we don't get wastelanded. Dodged the bullet this turn. And no immediate creature. That's great. Cool. Definitely happy enough with that draw. That gives me Dream Hall's potential next turn. Smells like Spell Pierce. Do I just like not play a thing yet? I'm not crazy far away from Maelstrom Wanderer. I could just cast that with multiple Cascades. Maybe I don't shove this turn. I don't have enough red to just cast this on 8 mana. This is my best land, I think, although this is my only showing red, so that might get attacked instead. I can take a little damage here. I think next turn I'm just going to play Dream Halls, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just do it around Spell Pierce. That sounds good to me. More Delver. This clock is going to step up very quickly. This is only 1 red of the 3 required for this. Don't have green currently for this. So I think we're going to go 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast Dream Halls. I can play around a Daze or a Pierce. The Pierce is a little costly, but I can do it. Hard counter spell. Delver flips to Bolt. So I just die next turn. Take 12 in combat damage plus 3 from a Lightning Bolt. I don't have untapped red, so I need to draw something like a Sakashima's Who's He What's It. Don't have green. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana, and no castable cards because I only have blue mana. So we have hit the failure rate of our own deck here. Alrighty. We have an 8-drop as our first spell. How does the math work on this if I just keep all this mana? How many things am I drawing towards? 4, 8, 12, 15? 15 things on the draw? That's not bad. I think I'm still going to mulligan. I just ran the math. The math is okay. Like, to just go off on turn 3, I'm going to hit that like 64% of the time. Turn 4, like 74% of the time. I'm just going to get rid of the non-depletion land here. This is just a more guaranteed version of the last hand, where I just have the card that I need already while I still have good mana. Alright, we've got a Surveil land to start things off. I hope we are not playing against yet another Wasteland deck, because I have determined. Fucking bad against Wasteland, folks. Real bad. Oh, cool. That's a great draw. That allows me to go off on turn 3. Well, I guess I could already go off on turn 3. That allows me to go off on 5 mana rather than 6 mana, so I can innately play around a Daze type card if I would like. Just kind of see what makes sense. Just like play some beans rather than Delver. I think I'm going to play my second red land here, so I can't be wastelanded off of red. Yeah, cantrips are fine. No shuffle off that Brainstorm, though, so they like their cards. That's probably not great for me. No imprint, so this is like Beseech the Mirror combo then. My opponent is just going to be faster than us. They're likely to have a turn 3 on the play, and I had a turn 3 on the draw. Just ponder? Why did we play out all these cards if we're just pondering? Well, they kept their card. 3 mana. Oh, I see. So the ponder was purely to build storm count. Okay. So I probably win instead of them. And that was a pretty terrible Galvanic Relay. So I probably just want to do Boarding Party here against this deck. This attacks for 6 right now. All right, here we go. Human Pirate, start the Cascade chain. I will do this. I will demonstrate. It should be relatively safe to do this versus my opponent's deck. They reveal a Galvanic Relay. I will cast a Trumpeting Carnosaur. This is now going to get me into another Creative Technique, which I will cast. I'll demonstrate it. Opponent can have another spell. LED does not get them anywhere. We'll cast this. It's got Cascade. I have 2 fucking Creative Techniques in my hand. Oh, well, that's scary. So I should have cast a Creative Technique so that I have 1 more Creative Technique in my deck. It's probably fine, but this is not the guaranteed deterministic line that I thought I was taking. I'm already attacking for 12 as things stand. So we obviously miss on that Cascade. So this is the 18th point of damage. So fetch lands will be off. Then we'll go down to this last Creative Technique. Okay, that gives me Maelstrom Wanderer. That is lethal. These other spells that I'm going to cast don't matter anymore. And my opponent, seeing the lethal, concedes. So now I think we just have to do the thing that makes us go faster. I think my opponent's deck is much faster than mine on average. Let's maybe take a Carnosaur out. I think I still keep this for its ability to cascade it twice. Hitting the multiple cascade cards like definitely matters off Tybalt's Trickery. What am I getting rid of from there? Like, is it clone effects? Is it just mana? Might just be mana. I don't know. I don't need that much mana. I'm just trying to like keep a hand that has Throes of Chaos and combo that way. Like that is literally all that I am trying to do. I think I'm just trying to keep red mana plus any other dual land. Maybe I can get rid of some clones. Please don't take my sideboarding as gospel. I am figuring this out as I go along. So this is turn 3 on the draw. I think turn 3 on the draw is just too slow. I am going to mulligan this. Okay, we have a slightly interesting hand here in that I have a Tybalt's Trickery, but I don't actually have any red mana, so I think this one is also a no-go. All right, there's the Throes of Chaos. That's what I need to keep. So I want red land, I want Ancient Tomb, I want Throes of Chaos. After that, I'll keep these and put these on the bottom. This is still 2 shots at red mana. Yes, this hand is very good. So we have a turn 2 win attempt. Love seeing no turn 1 play from my opponent. So now we see if we weather the storm for another turn. If we do, I get to attempt to win. And this does have retrace. I can just try again. But my opponent is making moves. So we're fine if we get a turn. Like a Galvanic Relay type situation is okay. So that's no imprint, then a whole bunch of fast mana. This is not looking good for the home team here. This is Burning Wish, crack for 6 mana. Does my opponent have something that kills me? Like, is Past in Flames going to do it? We're not at Tendrils. Oh, is Beseech the Mirror just deterministic with us? Okay, Beseech the Mirror, that doesn't tap for mana. So it's Beseech the Mirror, sack that, get Gaia's Will. Cabal Ritual for 3 mana. There's 6 cards in graveyard here. Did my opponent just kill themselves? So that's 3 mana. They need 4 for Beseech. Oh no, there's Lotus Petal. Never mind, they're good. So my opponent plays out all the artifact mana from their graveyard. They're going to cast Beseech. They're going to do a Tendrils, and I am going to be dead. So I got turn 2'd when they were on the play, when I had the turn 2 when I was on the draw. We're just not fast enough. And, you know, we'll try to be faster this time. So this hand is a turn 4 as of right now. There's no way that's good enough. This hand is a turn 3. I don't think that's good enough. I would like to turn 2. Not a turn 2. Not even a turn 3. All of these are ETB topped lands. I think I am going to 4. This is a turn 2 off 3 cards. So this land tapped, this land untapped, throws, go. This is a keep. I will put the Creative Technique back into the deck, as well as 2 lands. I don't want the Tybalt's Trickery, right? Because I want to retrace into Tybalt's Trickery and not hit Tybalt's Trickery. I think it's 2 lands. All right, land pass. Although I guess if I keep the land, I can retrace Throes of Chaos, but I'm like a 39 land deck or some shit like that. I'm very likely to just draw a land if Throes gets discarded. Am I gonna get turn 1'd? God damn it. Yeah, it seems like I am just getting turn 1'd. Okay, it's an Echo. That's not deterministic. It's very good. Fresh hand. That's about the worst possible hand. All of my lands are, like all of my dual lands here are ETB tapped lands, and I got no 5 or 6 mana enabler. It is hard to draft up a worse hand. Okay, we dead. My spirit is broken. Just kill me. Alright, it is a Beseech based line. My opponent can just go Dark Writ, Beseech, kill me. Or they can just like ignore the graveyard and just Tendrils me now. That works too. Or sure, Beseech into Beseech also works. Basically, kill me however you want. I am dead. Okay, they're taking too long. I'm conceding. GG's. Okay, I will be keeping this hand. We are set up to attempt a combo on turn 3. That may or may not actually be fast enough here. Tony tends to play fast, like sort of glass cannon-y combo decks. So we have learned that we are not faster than other combo decks, even if we board into our thing that wins at 4 mana. I'm going to play my red land in case we get echoed. And we've learned that we're very bad against Wasteland. It seems like we're bad against most of the format. You're either fast or you have Wasteland. Okay. I'm going to assume that this is combo still. Just knowing the opponent here. Play a tapped land and pass. I'm guessing this is going to be like some bullshit trying to like surveil an Echo of Eons into the graveyard after casting a bunch of rituals. We'll see if I'm right. Are you just fucking playing burn, Tony? Weird prowess burn? Okay. That's a lot of baubles. Yeah, it seems like this is a funky burn deck. I am not going to pay red to do that. No thank you. Alright, and now all of these are getting sacked. I'll take 8 in combat here. And now I need to just like not accidentally die while doing my combo, and things should be fine. So Fire Blast is a thing that can happen. Price of Progress is a thing that can happen. So I think I just die to these creatures if my opponent gets another turn. There's effectively 4 cards in hand, and I'm going to be giving my opponent some effective burn in all likelihood with Creative Technique. So I think to better play around Price of Progress, I'm going to go ahead and do this and sacrifice this land. And then we'll go ahead and cast the Creative Technique directly. and demonstrate it. You may have your Urza's Bauble. It's going to yield all these. We'll go ahead and do this again. I will demonstrate these until something bad happens. Mutagenic growth. Absolutely. Would you like to lower your life total? You would. Trumpeting Carnosaur happens. And we'll Creative Technique. As soon as something starts dealing damage to me, like as soon as one of these goes at my face, I need to start worrying a little bit more. But until then, I'm probably okay. Sacking the baubles. Heyo. Call forth the Tempest is great. So at this point, life is good. Nothing's hit my face yet. I think I can keep going. Slick shot show off. Sure. Okay. That's the gimmick. All right. I have a whole bunch of cascades. I'm now out of creative techniques. I don't think that matters. Getting some slightly rough lag. MTGO. Not loving the stacks here. Okay, this is the point where I just win. So now once this stack resolves, I am going to go and attack with a hasty army. Okay, so I think I just want to go this route rather than trying to play a bunch of Trumpeting Carnosaurs as removal spells. So I'm going to board this stuff in while junking a few lands, and I think I can just get rid of these. Okay, this is a turn 2 win attempt that can attempt to go again on turn 3 if that doesn't initially work out. And I imagine we'll take some red damage along the way. We'll see if there's any like weird permanents that I have to worry about. Like the Sphere of Resistance type stuff doesn't really make sense with all the baubles that are going on over there. So I think the plan versus combo is just fucking race them. Let's see. A player casts a spell if no mana was spent to cast it. 5 damage. Okay, got it. That sucks. Okay, so that's the plan versus decks like mine. So now, do I just try to do throws stuff? Get lucky, hit something that kills my opponent? Like, does it get better or worse for me if I wait a turn? Probably worse. Like another one of these could happen. Alright. So we will throws. I pay mana for this. This is fine. I cast Tybalt's Trickery on my throws. I take 5. I will cast a Maelstrom Wanderer. So at this point, I can cast a Boarding Party, go to 1, attack for 13. That doesn't kill my opponent. I didn't spike something like an Emrakul that could just singularly win. I could just like stop, have a 7/5 in play, and not be great. I think I'm just going to concede and move on to the next game. Alright. So Otawara for Roiling Vortex matters. So let's go a Boseiju out instead. And I guess hitting Emrakul now matters. This maybe matters a little less. Dream Halls gets a little better, I guess. Got one random land of some kind. Can probably cut a blue land. Is Dream Halls blue? No, Dream Halls is blue. Green can go. That's a good land to cut. This does not have any red mana. That is a no-go. This attempts to go off on turn 2. This gets under Roiling Vortex. I think I will just put a land back into a deck so I don't cascade into some of this other stuff. I guess I can put Boarding Party into my deck. Let's just put a land back. Alright, Needle Pass. I imagine we're going to take some damage from a red 1-drop of some kind. Street Wraith. Sure. 1 damage is perfectly fine. Let's attempt to do the thing. So let's cascade into our Tybalt's Trickery. We have hit Creative Technique. I will demonstrate here. We could randomly hit a Roiling Vortex. That's a thing to keep in mind, but I do kind of need to get the ball rolling here. God damn it. My deck sucks. And I just get Mindbreak trapped? Sure. Alright, I mean, I can cast a Boarding Party next turn, hit my opponent for 6 while doing something else. That's not nothing. Sure. Oh, cool. I'm only taking 2. That's not bad. So, float 2 mana. Do this. This gets me to 6 mana. No lands. Don't need lands where we're going. Cast Boarding Party. Cast Dream Halls, take 5. Cast Maelstrom Wanderer, take a total of 10. Attack for 13. That seems fine. So take my 5. We cast this, discarding the Throes of Chaos. I take some damage. And to play around Fire Blast, I probably do not cast anything else off the Cascade here. I already just have lethal showing. Second Mindbreak Trap. Sure. Oh, that still kills my opponent. 5 + 6 is still lethal. Pirate goes burr. We won. I don't feel good about it, but we won. No land? Absolutely not. This is a turn 3. This is fine. We'll put the Maelstrom Wanderer back into the deck. I'm just absolutely terrible versus Wasteland. Like, if this land gets Wastelanded, it knocks me off of both colors and mana. And if, like, this one gets Wastelanded, it is knocking me off of a very relevant amount of mana. But we'll do our best. Please no Wasteland. Brainstorm's not Wasteland. Polluted Delta also not Wasteland. Ponder also not Wasteland. Hey! Looking good. So all of these are the 6 mana things. I guess I want to do the one that does it on cast, rather than the one that does it on resolving. But we're going. I don't know what deck I am playing against yet, so I don't think it is worth it to wait 1 turn to play around Daze when my opponent, like, kind of needs multiple counterspells to beat what I'm presenting already. You may Baleful Strix. Do I get to do crimes against humanity? Force of Will says no. Pitching Jace the Mind Sculptor. We are playing against a slow deck. Do you have the second counterspell? You do. Okay. My boarding party can't attack into Strix. I've already played a land drop. This sucks. Like, I'm not dead, but this is what happens when you play lands that sacrifice for 2 mana. Yeah, you can Thoughtseize me. I ain't doing shit for like 4 turns at a minimum. Maybe not for the rest of this game. It doesn't really matter what my opponent takes. So we're playing against a very slow Grixis control deck list. So I will start the arduous journey of trying to get to 6 mana. It's very unlikely that Boarding Party sticks around long enough for me to just remove the Baleful Strix and actually just get 3 hits in, like this deck is designed to kill creatures. Okay. I still don't have red mana. Cling to Dust. Sure. Maybe an end of turn Surveil land? Nope. Oh, great. So now I have to worry about my triggers getting countered by Nimble Obstructionist too. Alright. That is rule. I'm not going to play out City of Traders here. It's just very awkward if I draw something like a red tapped land. My opponent will flashback Cling to Dust. Draw another card. And another Cling to Dust. I'll take 4. Sure, that's fine. I don't really draw cards anyway. Brainstorm's fine. That's a dead draw. I probably need to hit a live card next turn. Yeah. I need to play City of Traders this turn so that I can luck into Sakashima's Who's He What's It. I maybe need to do that. Thoughtseize can take one of these. It does not matter. An opponent's going to go ahead and sculpt their hand from here. They've got perfect information. And I draw a dead card. I am dead on board. I don't think I'm going to board too much. Like, I don't think I need to go faster. I just want to be resilient. I might play Trumpeting Carnosaurs just as a thing that is a 7/6 trampler. Go down a few lands. This is a depletion land. It makes green. Green's not the best. I probably don't need Boseiju here. That can probably just go. Get rid of a red-white land, maybe? Could be the blue-blue land. I don't know that it matters much. But this is awkward. Like, the same thing is just going to happen as last game, where I can keep this. I can attempt to go off on turn 3, and not care about something like Thoughtseize, but if my initial turn doesn't work, I just die. I really want to keep a resilient hand with better lands. I can just try 2 turns in a row. I don't know if it's correct to mulligan this. I'm going to. This at least has 1 depletion land. I'll just keep this with multiple barding parties, put back the Trumpeting Carnosaur. And it's still not going to be the best at attempting to go off multiple times, but it can try. It's just a Surveil land. Alright. I don't mind Ancient Tomb. Ancient Tomb's actively good. That makes it easier for me to go off multiple turns in a row. Or multiple times, maybe not multiple turns in a row, because this is still a sacrifice land at the end of the day. That was a very fast shuffle. Thoughtseize is fine. You can take 1 boarding party, and then I will just use the other. Got Surgical for the rub-ins. God damn it. I have not caught a break this entire league. Alright. Now we just wait until we draw something relevant. I guess it's good that my creative techniques aren't getting surgically extracted, but the whole reason I kept double boarding party was because it's better against counter spells, because you can just counter a Trumpeting Carnosaur, and that answers that, whereas boarding party, you have to deal with the boarding party and the card that you cascade into. Alright, I drew a creative technique. That is nice. I'm going to make Ancient Tomb as my land drop here. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's worth losing the life. And to do this way. I will demonstrate. Again, I have to get the chain rolling here before I can do anything fancy. Once it's like clear that I am making it through my opponent's initial defenses, I don't have to demonstrate anymore. Here we go. Into a creative technique, which I again will demonstrate. Yeah, you can ponder. We will call forth the Tempest. We are now cascading multiple times. There's a Carnosaur into a creative technique. Right now I have Carnosaur, plus 2 other random things, plus 3 other random things. This might be good enough to start saying no. I think I'm just going to say no. We will call forth the Tempest yet again. Surgical extraction on creative technique. Okay, got it. Yeah, the benefit to demonstrating creative technique is that like it is longer before a creative technique actually hits the graveyard. It may be that just pooping a couple of 7/6 dinos in play is just good enough though. Even with that gone. So our cascade there fizzles, and this one will as well. This gets another Carnosaur. Nuke my opponent's creatures. Would love to just hit a like Maelstrom Wanderer here. Is that a thing that I can do? All dinosaurs. All the time. This is not going to do anything. Hey, it's Maelstrom Wanderer. That is theoretically lethal. We'll make some more dinosaurs first. My opponent could have a removal spell for the Maelstrom Wanderer. We'll keep going. They would need like removal spell for Maelstrom Wanderer into some sort of damnation effect, which doesn't seem too likely. You don't get a different name or anything, do you? Yeah, you don't. So we'll just do this. One last creative technique. Oh, nice. That's a good last hit. I was sitting there thinking to myself that Force of Despair is the only thing that beats me, and this is like a garbage card that should not be index. Alright. Cool. Fun game. Note that Force of Despair is the example of a card that my podcast used as a card that you should not be playing in Legacy anymore with Namesticker Goblin gone. I'm losing my mind. Sure, at least I will die a swift death. Cool. Take 8 more in combat here. I'm at 10. Cantrip doesn't matter. Land drops, whatever. Alright. So we get to try again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Creative technique. I will demonstrate it. Orcish Bowmasters doesn't matter. I'm not drawing cards here. I have to run to the door. Alright, looks like my stuff's happening. Bowmaster blockers matter for some of these smaller things, like boarding party. I believe I have 1 more creative technique, question mark. Sure. Countering Creative Technique. Do you have a third Surgical? Sure. Yeah, so Surgical now takes out the remaining copies of Creative Technique, at which point I cascade into nothing and die in the air to Murktide Regent. What a miserable league. Ugh. So, why do you see so little of this deck? The answer is that it loses to everything. It is not as fast as other combo decks. Wasteland is absolutely brutal against it. Many of these lands mean that you're not actually great at executing the combo a second time. We saw many instances throughout this league where I would attempt and literally lose 3 lands at the same time, like lose City plus 2 other lands. This was rough. Like I did not have many decisions in this league because my opponents won before I could take any relevant game actions, or I was just wastelanded and could not take any game actions. Or even when I started comboing off things that my opponent could randomly hit off their creative techniques, just beat me. Like Roiling Vortex, for example. The deck in the last round is the sort of deck that I think we should theoretically be good against. Like, we should bully a control deck list, but 3 Surgical Extractions plus Force of Despair is enough, I guess. I don't know enough about different versions of this to give good advice for how to adjust this deck. So I think my advice is, like, don't play this deck. While I usually tell you to go to toamagic.com and use promo code ThrabenU if you like to order the cards that you would see in this league, maybe buy some other deck while you're there. I hope you enjoyed my suffering. I'm gonna, like, go take a nap or something. That's all I got. I am a broken man. See ya.